When it comes to the advancement of mankind, when it comes to medical innovation, when it comes to the advancement of individual liberty, the Anglosphere stands head and shoulders above the rest. The rest of the world is only now catching up because they are choosing to adopt some of our values. The westernisation of China, for example, is the only reason why people now consider China a legitimate future world superpower possibility. Despite this, despite everything that I have presented to you so far this evening, despite logic, despite facts and figures, despite our record and despite our history, the Anglosphere is in grave and imminent danger. The two major threats are the two major movements that since the demise of socialism have absorbed, consumed and engulfed the Western intellectual left. Radical multiculturalism on the home front and bureaucratic internationalism abroad, to use Jim Bennett's words. Both of these movements serve to dilute, weaken and ultimately destroy the Anglosphere as we know it today. This, accompanied by the rise of fanatical Islamism in the Middle East, a growing Islamic demographic in the Western world and a surging China, means that we find ourselves in perilous waters. We are simply ceding too much global power away from our three major threats of China, Russia and the Middle East. Political correctness, the internal threat of multiculturalism and the external fantasy of bureaucratic internationalism, which is the weakening of nation states, along with this idea of geographical limitation, that somehow because a country is situated in a certain part of the world, that this means that after a certain period of time it should abandon its Anglospheric heritage, history, qualities and attributes, means that we are losing ground daily. Make no mistake, I do remain optimistic about the future of the Anglosphere, but I am realistic in acknowledging the challenges and the threats that it faces. This is a battle that is being waged against us, and this is a battle that we cannot ignore. It is a battle that we cannot shy away from. We need to win this battle because the good of the world is at stake. So how do we win this battle? Where do we go to from here? How do we move forward? What are the take-home messages here tonight? Well, we need to do a great many things. And here I draw some inspiration from the Charter of the Anglosphere Institute. Firstly, we need to promote the concept and the virtues of the Anglosphere, loudly and proudly. Secondly, we must create and define institutions and arrangements that are of mutual benefit to all nations of the Anglosphere. Thirdly, we must promote the feelings of mutual respect, commonality and cooperation among the many English-speaking people in the Anglosphere. Ladies and gentlemen, we must protect our common values from internal threats and external fantasies. And we need to reject this idea of geographical limitation. And in saying that, what I mean is, in practice, Britain must revisit its Europeanist illusions, and Australia, my country, must reject outright its Asian identity fallacy. We are not talking of radical change, but of a deep reaffirmation of cultural roots. We cannot allow our socialist enemies and politically correct critics to obscure when we must illuminate. In order to be successful, we require the active participation of an awakened electorate. The Anglosphere is too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too upbeat to permit the presence of trouble. Remember always that our enemies and critics' platform is on brittle glass, and ours is solid and secure, like huge hardwoods with their roots buried deep in the ground. This is too important. If we lose, we run the risk of being the heirs of shame. When I think of the world which I wish to bequeath to the children and the grandchildren that I hope to have, I pray that they be fortunate enough to grow up in a world similar to the one that you and I grew up in. Because quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, and let us speak the truth tonight, frankly and boldly, the alternative is unspeakingly unthinkable. In the words of former United States President John F. Kennedy, if not us, who? If not now, when? We must think well of ourselves and proclaim these facts to the world, not just in loud words, but in great deeds. We must fight to develop and possess the vocabulary to bring comfort to the term Anglosphere. I, like you, am sick and tired of the hapless bureaucracies and intransigent unions that have thrust upon us a world of political correctness in which I do not feel comfortable in operating. But whatever our frustration and whatever their peaks, the high plane of dignity and discipline is where our battle must be conducted. This battle cannot be won on the cheap. It requires sacrifice and stamina, superb effort and great resources, but victory is within our reach. If it is beyond our reach, then we are nothing but sheep being herded to the slaughterhouse. And that I cannot accept and will not believe. We can change the mathematics of division that have existed in our countries through decades of policies of multiculturalism. And we can turn them into the mathematics of addition. The time has come to concentrate on our glue, on what unites us, not what makes us different, on how we are similar. Unity, my friends, is the tremendously urgent need of the hour. We must speak, preach and teach until our objectives are met. We must be endowed with energy, and then the sheen on our spears will be like stars in the sea. And when the winds begin to moan and howl and the clouds weep down their rain, we will emerge victorious. The Anglosphere may not be as pure and innocent as the driven snow, but it most certainly is the greatest source and force of goodness that this world has ever seen. I am a proud Anglospherist, a proud Anglophile, and I believe in Anglospheric exceptionalism. Make of that what you will, but mark my words, this is one of, if not the, greatest challenges of our time. Thank you.